Last time, we learned about the third conditional, the structure, the function, and we practiced a lot to learn how to use this advanced grammar in our speaking and writing. Before we start, if you haven't watched part 1 yet, I highly recommend you do. Watch it first, then come back to this video. It will make today's lesson much easier to understand. Hello everyone, welcome back to IELTS Clinic. It's me, Ali, back again with another practical IELTS lesson. Today, we're going to learn how to use the passive voice in the third conditional. This will be a big wow in your speaking and writing. So grab your pen, grab your notebook, and let's get started. Anna is also here with us today to continue the lesson. Anne, ready to go?
Yes, Ellie. I can't wait to learn more in part 2. I'm excited to learn how to use the passive voice in the third conditional.
But first, let's do a quick recap of the third conditional structure from our last lesson. We have two parts in this structure. The if clause, also called the dependent clause, and the main clause, also called the independent clause. In the if clause, we use the past perfect continuous, or past perfect passive. For example, if John had studied, if John had been studying, if John had been told about the exam. In the main clause, we use would, could, should, might, plus have, plus past participle. For example, he would have passed the test. He could have passed the test. He should have passed the test. He might have passed the test. Now, what I want to teach you in this lesson is something more advanced. Let's look at the third conditional in the passive voice. The third conditional in the passive voice is formed like this. If plus object of the active sentence as subject plus had been plus past participle. Optionally, you can add the original subject with by plus original subject at the end of the if clause. Then a comma, then subject, plus would have, plus past participle. For example, to make this sentence passive, you first write if, then omit the subject they, and put the object of the active sentence as the subject in the if clause. So we change us to we and put it after if, then add had been plus past participle. Optionally, you can add the original subject at the end of the if clause with by. So we change they to them and put it after by. Finally, add a comma and then the subject plus would have plus past participle in the main clause. Notice something important. In the if clause, we always add been right after had. The main clause stays active. We use would have plus past participle just like before. Anna, we're going to do a short third conditional quiz.
Wow, a quiz? Sounds fun. I'm ready.
Good. You'll see 5 questions each with a blank and 4 options. Just choose the answer that makes the third conditional sentence correct. You'll have about 20 seconds to find the correct answer for each one. Students, you can answer too. When the sentence appears, look at the 4 options and choose the correct one. If you need more time, just pause the video, think, and then check your answer with Anna's. Perfect. Let's start with question 1.
The answer is B.
Very good, Anna. Let's move on to the next one.
The answer is C.
Correct. Good job. Next.
The answer is A.
Yes. Perfect, Anne. Next.
The answer is D.
Exactly. Nice and simple. And the last question.
The answer is B.
Yes. Perfect, Anne. So, did you get all the answers right? If not, don't worry. I've created more exercises for you in our community. Just go to the description of this video, click on the Practice Hub link, and practice some more exercises to master the passive voice in the third conditional. Now, Anna, let's practice some more.
Sure, I'm ready.
Some third conditional sentences will appear on the screen in the active voice. Your job is to change them into the third conditional in the passive voice. You will have 30 seconds for each sentence. Students, you can join us too. Try to change the sentence into the third conditional in the passive voice, and then compare your answer with Anna's. Let's start. This is the first sentence.
If my homework had been corrected, I would have learned from my mistakes, which means the teacher didn't correct it. That's why I didn't learn. Ali, here's what I did. I omitted the subject of the active sentence, the teacher, in the if clause. Then I put the object, my homework, right after if. And finally, I added been right after had.
Good answer. Now let us move on to the next one.
If more investment in technology had been made by the government, students would have learned faster, which means the government didn't invest enough, so students didn't learn as quickly. Ali, here's what I did. I omitted the subject of the active sentence, the government, in the if clause. Then I put the object, more investment in technology, right after if. And finally, I added been right after had.
Awesome. Now look at the next sentence.
If stricter environmental policies had been implemented by the city, the air would have been cleaner, which means they didn't implement the policies, so the air was not clean. Ali, here's what I did. I omitted the subject of the active sentence, the city, in the if clause. Then I put the object, stricter environmental policies, right after if. And finally, I added been right after had.
Great job, everyone! I hope that so far you have learned how to make the third conditional and how to use it in the passive voice.
Ali, I have a question. Is it possible to use the passive voice in both the if clause and the main clause?
Yes, Anna, it is possible to use the passive voice in both parts of a third conditional sentence. Let me show you how this structure works. The structure is if plus had been plus past participle in the if clause, then a comma, and then the subject plus would have been plus past participle in the main clause. For example, if the emails had been sent, the information would have been received on time. Notice that in this example, the if clause is passive with had been plus past participle, and the main clause is also passive with would have been plus past participle.
Wow, that sounds very formal and advanced.
This structure focuses on what happened to the subject in both parts of the sentence, not what the subject did. However, I don't recommend using the passive voice in both parts of a third conditional sentence because it can sound awkward and unnatural in many cases. What I recommend is using the passive structure in either the if clause or the main clause, not both. Now, Anna, let's jump into some IELTS-focused third conditional practice.
Great, I'm ready.
Here's what we'll do. I'll show you sentences with blanks, and your job is to complete them using the third conditional in the passive voice. You'll have 30 seconds for each one. Students, you can join us too. Pause the video if you need more time. Complete the sentence, and then check your answer with Anna's. Let's start. Here's the first sentence.
If more trees had been planted in urban areas, the air would have been cleaner.
Excellent. Next sentence.
If advanced technology had been introduced in schools, students would have benefited more from lessons.
Perfect. Let's move on.
If unhealthy foods had been limited in schools, children's health would have improved.
Good job, Anne. Next one.
If public transport had been developed properly, traffic congestion would have been reduced.
Nice job. And the last sentence.
If recycling programs had been implemented nationwide, waste would have been managed more effectively.
Brilliant, Anna. Students, well done if you completed all 5 exercises. Keep practicing. The more you try, the easier it gets. Now, here's some extra practice for you. Think about something you didn't do last week. It could be homework you forgot, a task you didn't finish, or anything you regret. Try to write a third conditional sentence in the passive voice about it. For example, if my homework had been submitted on time, I would have learned more. Just go to the description of this video, click on the Practice Hub link, and write your sentence in our community. I'll do my best to read as many of your sentences as I can and give you personal feedback. Remember, practicing like this helps you really understand the structure, not just memorize it. So don't be shy. Give it a try.
Ali, is that all I need to know about the third conditional?
No, Anna, we're not finished yet. There's still one more advanced point about the third conditional that can really boost your score. And it's especially for students aiming for a band 9. But we'll cover that in part 3 of our third conditional lesson. In the next part, we'll learn what changes in the third conditional can make your speaking and writing sound more advanced and help you reach a band 9. So, stay tuned. All right, everyone, that's the end of part 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss the next part. Practice with heart, believe in yourself, and never stop learning. And remember, Success comes step by step. I'm here to guide you, and I'll see you in the next session.
Thanks, Ali. I'm really looking forward to the next lesson. Oh, and I've already subscribed and clicked the bell.
IELTS Clinic. Simple lessons, real results.
So if we learn how to write one paragraph, it will be easier to write the whole essay.
So it would be 7 plus 4 plus 4 equals 15. Then they divide it by 3. The introduction is like a map for your essay. So thus, therefore, as a result,